We are going to show you how to do a depth adjustment on the Hillman 4100 and 4100A key machines. First of all, always for safety reasons, make sure that your plug is out of the electrical outlet and always wear a good pair of safety glasses. Tools required: flat blade screwdriver, a pair of pliers, needle nose or slip joint, and a 5/32 Allen wrench. First of all, I would like to show you the proper way of holding a key when you're placing them into the vice jaw, and it is very important to hold it properly to get an accurate depth adjustment. You want to hold the head of the key with your thumb and your first finger behind the head, placing your index finger on the tip. This way the key will lay nice and flat in the jaws. You take your key and slide it into the right jaw using the standard setting. Snug it down. Take your left key, inserting the same way. Slide it into the vice jaw. Step 2, pull down your gauge fork. Move your lever handle very lightly up, and when it shoulders one key, then you'll be able to adjust it to make sure that you are shouldered very nice and tight against the gauge fork. The next step is to lift up your gauge fork up out of the way. The best and easiest way is to press down on the handle, and before you do that, you want to take a black magic marker and color in the thin blade portion of the key as a marker for a guide to do the depth adjustment. To operate, press down on the handle, pull out trigger knob with your index finger, and in one swift motion, lift up key up to cutter and key guide. Basically, you'd want it in the middle of the key in relationship to the shoulder and the tip. First of all, we're going to do the test. There's going to be 3 things that will happen. First of all, grab your deburring brush and rotate downwards towards you. If she's moving very freely and is not touching the key at all, that is called your machine is adjusted too shallow. The next scenario would be if you grab your deburring brush and it does not allow the cutter to rotate, or it's digging into the key very hard and hitting it, this machine would be adjusted too deep. The correct scenario and your objective is to get the cutter close enough to the top of the key where when you rotate your deburring brush that you barely lightly touch the top of the blank, just removing some of the marker. That would be your best adjustment right there, and an indicator that you are correct. Now, to adjust the depth, on the 4100A and the 4100 machine, there are 2 different types of an adjustments, but the results are the same. The differences are, on the 4100A, there is located behind here, behind the key tracer, is an adjustment dial. This will make the guide go in or out to change the depth. Turning the dial adjustment wheel to the right brings the keys closer to the cutter, and turning the adjustment dial wheel to the left brings the keys away. On the older machines, the 4100, there is an adjustment screw just right below the key tracer, and it operates in the same fashion. Turning towards the right will bring the keys closer to the blade. turning it towards the left will bring it away. Now this is done by loosening the guide hold down screw first. So what you want to do is you want to take your 5/32 Allen wrench, and what you really want to do is you just want to crack it open. You don't want to loosen it too much. You want it a little snug. So once you cracked open your hold down screw, all the screw is to do is to hold it back down when you're through with your adjustment. So basically you lift your key gauge out of the way and you bring up your carriage assembly to the blade, and by turning your wheel to the right at small increments, you want to do it a little at a time, and with the pressure against there, and when you start to hear the cutter first making contact with the key. And you always want to remember something. All cutters are not completely round, so you want to hit that first high spot that starts hitting the blank. Once you start scraping off some of the marker, and you might hear a little sound, you don't want to leave a nick in the key, you don't want to remove material, then you go over and you take your 5/32 Allen wrench and you lock down your adjustment. Then once you do that, you're finished with adjusting the depth. Make sure your gauge fork's out of the way and press down on your carriage handle to lock down in the position. You'll hear it click, and remove your 2 keys and you are complete.